Hello, my name is Jenna Smith, and I am doing my law presentation about FERPA. So, what we'll be covering in this presentation is the laws and regulations about FERPA, the implications of laws and instructional design, the impact of the law FERPA, and then role and the ethics. So the law and regulation, and again, the law that I decided to choose was FERPA. So the law I'll be discussing throughout this presentation is FERPA, which stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This law was passed in 1974 to protect the rights of the students' education records. FERPA gives parents certain rights over their education records. They have these rights until the child turns 18 years old. And for a real life example of this, when I was in my undergrad here at the University of Mount Union, I remember I had to sign something off to allow my parents to see my student records and my privacy stuff because I was over the age of 18 at that point. So I thought that was kind of a cool connection. So why was FERPA created, and kind of more of an explanation of what exactly FERPA is. So as I was doing my research, I found an article called Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, from the website Epic. It had stated that FERPA has two parts, and the first part states it gives the students the right to inspect and review their own educational records, request corrections, and obtain a copy of their institution's policy concerning access to educational records. And the second part prohibits educational instructions from disclosing personal identifiable information in educational records without written consent of the student. So, or if the student is a minor, or with the student's parent. So that kind of connects back to what I said about me having to sign something off for my parents to have access to my student records. So this law was signed into action by President Ford on August 21st, 1974. It was created because lawmakers were worried about how much information schools were getting about their students and how easily it could be shared without their permission. I just thought this was so interesting because that the law wasn't even created until 1974. So all the student information was just out in the open. I just that kind of I just thought that was very interesting, and it kind of opened my eyes as to more of back in the day, how times have changed. And I just thought that was super a wow moment. So the implications of the law on instructional design. An instructional designer must comply with the laws of FERPA when they are designing their learning environments and the technology being implemented. Some of the implications might be, so I found using a third-party tool, so such as using Kahoot, Gimkit, Google Docs, etc. Instructional designers must make sure that these outside resources are in compliance with FERPA to protect the student's privacy. Communication. Instructional designers need to think about the different ways students will communicate on an online class that complies with FERPA. This includes discussion forums, Google Forms, and any type of collaboration kind of lesson. So talking to different peers and stuff. And the learning management system, so such as Canva, Blackboard, D2L, and Moodle. Instructional designers need to pick a LMS that ensures that the student records are being protected. The LMS must follow FERPA and the laws that are in place. And I won't lie, when I create a Google Classroom, and I know it's kind of different and stuff, but I never really thought too much of the laws, which kind of probably sounds terrible to say, but I kind of just assumed that using third-party tools the students' rights would just automatically be protected. And now, like, after like doing kind of like some research on it, like, that's kind of naive of me to say now. So I just thought that was interesting. So ethical instructional designer. So having ethics in instructional design kind of means that you're treating the students with information with care and respect. You want to treat others' information like how you would want your privacy respected or your child's, which I feel like I kind of like modified that of like kind of like one of the golden rules of like life, like you want to treat others how you would want to be treated. And so kind of took that as like the same thing for the ethics for the instructional design. Like you want to handle others' information how you would want you to handle yourself, like with the same like respect and like dignity. So kind of a person who has good ethics as an instructional designer will go above and beyond to protect the student's information. So maybe find like extra software or something that has like another safety feature or something that just like protects them from getting their information out, especially using those like other third-party tools. Okay, so only collect information that is needed from the students. So if you don't need the information for your class, then you don't need to ask that information of the student and like risk a chance of that like private information like getting out. Like you don't want to do that, and you have to make sure that you're in compliance with FERPA. And having clear transparency with students about what information they need. And I thought like give a why. I think a lot of the times people are like, okay, like, well, why do I need to give this? And explaining that right off the bat, like I feel will help with any issues that like might be like, okay, well, how come I need to give X, Y, and Z information? So the most and least impacted. So kind of like thinking and like doing like some online research, I found that like the most impacted are students in education, because this law is about protecting like students like privacy policies and stuff. So if you're not in like college or any sort of like schooling like K through 12, then that kind of would fall under a different kind of law and not through FERPA, because that again is only you're only protecting through like the like schools like and stuff. So students in higher education are at risk because of student information being given to like other faculty, like going from like different professors and like that kind of stuff, and just like the going from different classes to classes. And especially like if you switched majors and like you're in a different department now, and like having to like share that information to like a whole new group of people. And students from K through 12 are at risk because the school must protect minors' privacy rights, and parents have more control of this at these ages. So I know that at the beginning of each school year, like there's like privacy things that like parents have to sign. So like I know off the top of my head, like parents have to sign if the school is allowed to take like their picture and post it on like the school's Facebook, or we use Parent Square to like share information. So like if a parent checks the no box, like we cannot share that, and that's a part of like the privacy laws. So the next part is the least impacted. So I kind of was just thinking of like business training. So this is because the training that is not being provided at school is not protected by FERPA. So like that, I kind of automatically thought of like professional like development day kind of thing, and I kind of like did another bullet point after. But another one is healthcare. This is protected by like HIPAA and like not FERPA. Obviously it kind of overlap more if it's like nursing school or something like that. And then kind of already what I said, like workplace professional development, it's protected by like employee laws and not FERPA. It's just like also doing this, like it was so interesting to see like all like the different laws like out there. So I thought that was super like cool. Like it's good to know like what rights you have and to make sure that you're being protected. And that was the source. But I hope you enjoyed my presentation about FERPA. Thank you very much.